Tomino's Hell, the poem that took my friend. Some stories are just stories. They scare you for a moment, send a shiver down your spine, then fade into the background of your life. But some stories, some are warnings. Ignore them, and you don't just get scared, you disappear. This is what happened to my best friend Daniel. The legend of Tomino's Hell. There's a Japanese poem called Tomino's Hell. Some say it tells the story of a boy suffering in the deepest pits of torment. Others believe it's something older, something sinister, something that shouldn't be spoken aloud. The legend says that anyone who reads it out loud invites misfortune, illness, madness, or death. The first time I heard about it, I thought it was just another creepy internet myth. I don't think that anymore. The night of the dare. It started on a stormy Friday night. Daniel, Sophie, and I were hanging out at my place, watching horror movies. The power had flickered once or twice, making the night feel even eerier. That's when Sophie brought up Tomino's Hell. "You're not supposed to read it out loud," she said, lowering her voice. "People say it's cursed. Some who read it hear whispering at night. Others wake up with scratches on their body, and some just vanish." Daniel scoffed, grinning. "That's dumb. It's just words." Something about the way he said it made my stomach tighten. "Then prove it," I said, half joking, half daring. I pulled up the poem on my phone. The text looked wrong. I don't know how to explain it, but the words seemed sharper somehow, like they didn't belong on the screen. Daniel didn't hesitate. He snatched the phone from my hand, smirked, and began reading. The moment he spoke the first line, I felt it. The air changed. It grew thick, suffocating, like something unseen was pressing down on us. The wind outside stopped. The rain fell silent. By the time he reached the last line, my skin was covered in cold sweat. A heavy knock echoed from inside the walls. All three of us froze. Daniel chuckled, but it sounded forced. "See? Nothing happened." We tried to laugh it off, but I knew something had changed. The first sign. The next morning, Daniel wasn't answering my texts. By afternoon, Sophie called, her voice shaky. "He's not answering me either," she said. "I have a bad feeling." I drove to his house. His mother let me in, her eyes hollow, her face pale. "He's not himself," she murmured. "Locked himself in his room. Keeps saying he sees something in the shadows." A chill ran down my spine. I knocked on his bedroom door. No response, but I could hear whispers. Not just one voice. Many low, rasping voices. Hissing words I couldn't understand. "Daniel," I called. The whispering stopped. Slowly the door creaked open, just an inch. Just enough for me to see his eye, peeking through the crack. It didn't look right. His pupil was too large. His veins were dark, spreading like cracked glass under his skin. His eye didn't blink. "They won't stop talking," he whispered. "They're in the walls, in the mirror. I shouldn't have read it." Then he slammed the door shut. Something was in the room with him. Over the next few days, Daniel got worse. His mother said he barely ate. When she caught glimpses of him, he was muttering, rocking back and forth, clawing at his arms. Deep scratches ran down his skin, as if something with long fingers had been pulling at him. But the worst part? At night he would scream, not words, just a raw, animalistic wail. His mother swore she heard a second voice screaming with him. By the end of the week, he was gone. Not missing, just gone. His mother called me in tears. I checked on him before bed. He was there, sleeping. Her voice broke. But this morning, his bed was empty. The window was still locked. His phone was on the nightstand. It's like she inhaled sharply, like he was taken. The police searched. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, no explanation, nothing. It didn't make sense, but deep down I knew. Daniel had read the poem, and something had come for him. The last warning. I thought that was the end. I thought I was safe, until 3 nights later. I woke up to a tap on my window. Software faint, tap, tap, tap. My stomach twisted. I live on the second floor. I turned my head slowly. My curtains were closed, but I could see the outline of a shadow on the other side. A person standing outside my window. I couldn't breathe. With shaking hands, I reached for my phone and turned on the flashlight. Daniel was standing in my backyard, or at least something that looked like Daniel. His head was tilted at an unnatural angle. His limbs were stiff, like a puppet held up by invisible strings, and his eyes completely black. I was frozen in place. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. Then without opening his mouth, I heard him. "Don't read it out loud." The voice didn't come from his lips. It came from inside my head. Then in a blink, he was gone. No footsteps, no movement, just gone. I haven't seen him since, but sometimes late at night, I hear it. A faint, distant whisper coming from the walls. "Don't read it out loud, ever."